Okay, I think all set up here, Mark. So yeah, I guess how do you want to start this? You want a little background on kind of the DI and kind of what led us to this, or kind of you want to start with what you're looking for to get out of this, or
Yeah, let's start with the back of my life.
okay, let me collect my thoughts here. So yeah, it's about a year ago, January or so, 2018. I took over as the equipment manager for Toronto. So and part of that was having to move our field room we have in Toronto here because we had to move same building, but we had to move rooms. So it was an opportunity to redo the inventory of our field equipment, and really upon that, I came to the realization we have a lot of obsolete had a lot of obsolete equipment. A lot of stuff was just not labeled correctly. Stuff was not getting maintained or tracked appropriately. And my background is terrestrial biology too, so my standard equipment is a handheld GPS, a camera, and a clipboard. So I was dealing with all that stuff I don't usually deal with. So yeah, kind of over the winter, being a field biologist, you bank up a lot of overtime. So kind of just on my own time, I was looking up different options for better management and tracking of our field equipment. So I went through a couple of trials and came across Asset Panda here. So what kind of led me to choosing to present this as a development initiative was that I felt it best blends in with our current operation, and it's a fully customizable platform on either the web or their smartphone app. And so I'll log in here just to provide you an overview of it. And one of the great things about it too is it's a subscription based um, tracking platform. So it's based on the number of assets. So for this basic subscription we have right now, it's 500 assets. Um, so we're allowed unlimited users and unlimited uploads of documents and associated pictures or anything related to the equipment assets. But sorry, I think I'm hearing myself on your.
How are you? Any better?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so we kind of got off to a slow start last year because the subscription didn't get approved until the end of May. So, and then that leads right into our prime field season as well. So it was a bit of a slow start to implementing it, which kind of turned out, I think, in a more of a beneficial way because if we were at a peak field season, having to try and work through all the kinks and get the feedback and suggestions, it would have been a lot more difficult than what we're currently in. We're more of like a slow rollout right now.
Yeah.
So right now we've got Toronto on here as well as Saskatoon, and then St. John, Fredericton. And I think Edmonton and Calgary are going to upload their stuff as well because we're slowly trickling around, and all the equipment managers are pretty excited about this kind of platform for tracking in of equipment.
Yep.
Yeah, so like I'll show you the main feature of it is the assets. So you see at the top here, there's asset categories, office room, kits for field, materials, employees. So these are all what are called groups, and we can add on additional groups as needed. One of the great things is anything that gets incorporated under these groups doesn't go against our asset count of 500. So this 91 is really just equipment assets.
Right.
So I'll open this. You can have a look to see what's incorporated in it. So again, it's fully customizable. So like everything you see here, I kind of just fiddled around with. There's some additions we've made based on feedback from users already.
Right.
And this is really just like an overview page, but we can tweak as needed. But let me get one up here. You can kind of see what's entailed with it here. activity view. So when we have an asset up here, so all these fields that are known in Asset Panda are attributes. The one thing is when we have assets, we can remove or add additional fields or attributes to the assets, but the only one thing is we can't customize per asset. So however many fields you want, they may not apply to all the various bits of equipment. It really depends on what data is available for it. And for Toronto here, I'd say about 75% of what we did upload, I just don't have any background information on. So there's a lot of blank fields. All these are, as you see here, are white. So when we add users, there's different permission types we can tag people with having. So I'm an admin on here, so I have full editing capability, but most people would be regular users, so all this would be grayed out so they couldn't change anything by accident.
Okay.
And a lot of this, some of the like finance codes and stuff like that are based off of our like Dillon Finance. They have a set lists for various pieces of equipment and billing rates for recovery of costs on some things.
Yep.
So like most regular users won't be able to do anything with this. So depending on what you're looking for to get out of it, we can talk about that further. But like one of the things people would use most often when using the platform are the action items. So again, these are all ones we've, some of them were set up by Asset Panda as part of the implementation of the program, but most of them I've set up myself, as well as some based on feedback from others, such as calibration check for this turbidity meter.
Okay.
But like action, like item checkout is like the most basic most basic actions are the checkout and check-in function. So that's what most staff will get most use out of it. So again, all these line items we can change as needed based on feedback from various users. But anything with an asterisk, you can't proceed with the action until it's filled out. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll run through an example here. I'll check it out here. So the way we've set this up for the checkout, at least, is when staff checkout certain items, well, and pretty much any asset, it'll automatically update the status of the item and who it was checked out to. So when staff check them back in, we have this set up so staff are able to edit in case they need to change the return date or anything like that. Because as it's set up right now, when staff indicate the date they will return the item, if they don't return it on that particular date, there's a feature in the platform for notifications. So it can be various notifications. But one of the ones we've set up for is if staff don't return items on the day they said they would, they get an email every day until they do.
Okay. Yep.
And then another notification. I'll show you all the notifications we have set up right now. But another one is if staff are checking something in and they say are all components present still, and they say no, just write down what's missing. It'll send an email to whatever email you want to set up. Like right now, we have this set up based out of Toronto. So for equipment based out of the Toronto office, if staff check it back in and it says it's missing, then it sends a notification to the equipment manager to follow up.
Okay.
The same with repair. So if staff indicate it needs repair, it sends something to the equipment manager. And checking back in or returning, it'll update the status back to available, and then essentially erases the checked out too, so it's back to where you started. And we've added in some additional fields based on feedback, such as this total recovered cost. and I think I added in a, where is it here? I added in a total maintenance cost. Somewhere here it is, total maintenance cost.
Oh, okay.
So there's those additional action items for when some of them are more so for the equipment manager for whatever office is using this, like in-house maintenance or send out for repair, that kind of thing. So when the equipment manager checks things in and out, they can put down the cost for what the maintenance was, and then this will automatically calculate, and you'll have a total maintenance cost over the life of the equipment. Same with for various equipment or assets that can be recovered. So for this turbidity meter, Dylan has set fees for recovering or like billing out to clients when we use this meter. So we have it. So there's a approximate total recovered cost here, because one of the things I noted when I presented this DI was issues with like we recover costs for certain equipment by just sending in you've used. It's all based on these finance codes, so it doesn't, when we set it into units at Dylan.ca or the finance department, it doesn't tie it back to any one piece of equipment. We just know we've recovered cost on this unit code, so we don't know it was actually attributed to this turbidity meter. So that's one of the great features of this moving forward is, and again, like I said, for Toronto, at least 75% of what we have here, I don't have the actual costs anymore, like what the original costs were for various assets. So, but moving forward with newer equipment as they come into offices, we're able to, at least I've been trying to track down the original cost from invoices, so we can set up depreciation for equipment. Yeah, and then there's like at the bottom of each asset there'll be a tracking of various actions, so you can kind of see the life of the equipment and on various actions that have been used on it, as well as this for this particular meter. So I mentioned that turbidity calibration action. So we set that up based on feedback, so that so staff will fill out an action, and it actually creates what's called a predefined form. So let me open that up here. So when staff fill out all the information in that action item, it saves it and spits out a form. This is based on, I'll drag it over here, it's on my other screen. It's based on a protocol check standard form that I think Michael Preston in Toronto developed a few years back. Yeah, so all the information gets filled out into this PDF form in case things like this need to be submitted to a client, or just for tracking. It makes it a little more tidy. But yeah, this is just something we've been exploring with as well, like just scratching the surface when it comes to the capabilities with the platform here. Is anything else here? Okay. Yeah, so notifications. These are all the various notifications that we've set up currently, and these can be they're geared towards Toronto right now because I'm based in Toronto. But there's opportunities to duplicate these and then just change out the office. So like with Saskatoon on here, I got a chat with Phil Hessville. He's the equipment manager in Saskatoon. So he's starting to have staff use this regularly.
Okay.
So we have to duplicate these notifications. So when staff in Saskatoon check things out, they'll get the notification every day until they check it back in. And then another great feature we found is is automated reporting. So this is another thing we've been just exploring with as well. Currently we have these automated reports set up. So you'll see it every week on Friday at 7 a.m. It sends a weekly invoice for use of equipment to the Toronto equipment manager as well as our office administrator, and we set up various different action reports. So the biggest one for that invoice is trying to recover costs for certain equipment. So I can show you one here quickly. Cost recovery. It's loading up here. Let me drag over this actually. So you remember when I checked that item back in, I indicated it was missing a component. So it automatically sent me an email as an equipment manager for Toronto.
Okay, yeah. So in all of those, like the check-in, check-out, like all those functions, you mentioned they have a app as well that, you know, you can just use to just do all that same stuff right from their phone.
Absolutely. Yeah, okay, so here's a invoice that we'd send out weekly. And we're still kind of working out how to best approach this with finance. Currently, the way equipment is supposed to be dealt with regards to cost recovery is that it's the office OA's responsibility. And usually there's like a standard Excel form that they're supposed to fill out, essentially enter these finance codes and what the recovery cost is. So the thought is, and then they send it to units at Dillon. So the thought is we treat these similar to other invoices where, at least in Toronto here, for like enterprise invoices are kind of the big one for staff, field staff in particular, is the OA will get the invoice and then put a little form thing on here just to vet it so staff can double check, make sure they got the right project number and all that. So we're thinking about treating it the same with field equipment.
Okay.
So that's kind of what that's at. Is there anything else here? Materials. I don't know if that might interest you at all here. So this is another one we're exploring here with regards to materials or consumables, where certain offices will have, like in Toronto, shop towels is one. We've added in turbidity standards for calibration for that turbidity meter. So again, we've inputted all these under materials, so it doesn't get counted against our total asset count for the subscription. But they're tracked in here, and we're able to put the expiration date on these standards, which is great because then it helps to like previously. I mean, you could have it written down, you could have it in your own Google Calendar, but this is just another easier way for tracking these. And once I can't remember how I set it up. I think it's like within 14 days of expiry, it sends an email out to the equipment manager to notify them so they can get on top of it and order more standards. As well as for another one such as shop towels, or we can include those on here. And one of the great things, the way I've set this up, is these are action items as well: stock taken, stock added. So staff can do this on the web platform, but the expectation is most field staff will be using the smartphone app, which I'll show you as well because I've got a live stream on my phone. Staff can enter the number of stock they're taking, it'll record the date, and if it happens the material could be recovered, then it can be indicated on the checkout item, on the action item as well. So when staff do this, it'll automatically update the available number of units. So it was 8, now it's down to 4. Same one in stock is added. And another great thing, which I think that's probably it I have on the web platform. So, but another great thing about this is the ability to barcode items. And it's kind of one of the original drivers behind this as well. I was like talking with Shane Giles in Toronto here. We were talking about how to better track equipment, like QR codes came up and barcodes, and I was just like, how are we going to do that internally? Really, the best approach was to branch out and find a dedicated platform that really is used for this kind of thing. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you. So you can't really do that with the web-based platform. Here, let me refresh this. Sometimes the live stream on the YouTube doesn't want to cooperate. Want to leave it hanging too long. Okay. Oh, there we go. It's getting better.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, really, when users open the app, you really you'll have the groups similar to the browser here, same ones essentially. So when staff are using the smartphone app, they'll likely be using the equipment assets the most often. And again, like it's pretty much this. You open one of these, and for most regular users, this will all be grayed out. It won't be white, so they can't accidentally edit something by accident. Yeah, so it'll have all the same edits and everything. Another great thing, which if you recall, I mentioned right at the beginning, was the unlimited users, but the ability to upload unlimited documents. Probably that's not a great example. Peristaltic pump, perhaps. So when staff are either on the web browser or the smartphone app, you can click on an asset, and then open documents, and it'll have, for this instance, it has the geo pump, peristaltic pump manual specifically. But for other items, we've uploaded invoices, like maintenance invoices, MSDS sheets for calibration standards if needed.
Yeah.
It's pretty much unlimited options. Like there's the documents aspect side of things, so PDFs and even Word documents, that kind of stuff, as well as you can also upload short little videos or voice notes or multiple images if needed.
Like a user manual? Or...
Exactly, yeah. Okay. And similar to the browser, this has all the same action items. So it's really just the same stuff that I just overviewed on the web browser. But again, like I kind of was leading to with the feature of barcodes. So you can imagine we only have 91 out of 500 on here right now, so it's not too much effort to scroll down and try and find your piece of equipment. But if we have the 500 or greater assets on here, then this is where the barcoding comes into play. And again, the barcodes are there's a generator in the web platform for creating your own barcodes. So this the barcode that was on these binoculars here is just something I developed as a standard barcode with a unique identifier on here. So yeah, you scan it and it'll come up with your binoculars, and then you can do your action, whatever you're doing with it. But another great feature regarding barcodes, and this is something I hadn't really considered, but usually because when I'm out in the field, I'm able to have binoculars, a camera, that kind of thing. It's not too much equipment, but definitely the geoscience folks will have multiple items out at once. So this was a question posed to me, and I wanted to double check and make sure it was possible, and it is. So there's a thing called group scan on here under tools, where staff can either manually enter ID or prompt each time, use the barcode, and by doing that, they are able to scan multiple items at once. Or not at once, but it scan these binoculars, and I didn't bring anything else in with me, but I can scan multiple things, and then it'll bring them all up under this group scan, and then users can do a group action. So you can check out 5 items at once instead of doing them all individually.
Yeah.
And the same with materials. Like materials is on here, so when staff are in the field room or storage room or where have you, you can barcode. We have this set up so you can, like I've got the shop towels barcoded in our field room, so you can quickly get them up on the smartphone app instead of having to scroll through everything. So that's a quick feature here. Anything else? Like I said, I'm just scratching the surface, and it's a lot to take in with with regards to the platform.
No, it's good. I looked at this back a few months ago at a very high level, but it definitely seems to cover a lot of say issues, but a lot of items that we try to deal with in our own ways manually, in probably different ways across the country, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of
platform.
That's kind of my one vision, or the way I presented it too, is like there are standard tracking or maintenance sheets through Inside Dylan. They're a bit of a pain to get to. But really, it still comes down. It says it even right in P11 of the BAM, which is the equipment management policy. is that it's up to the office manager to come up with a system for managing their equipment, and then down to the equipment manager to kind of oversee the actual undertaking of it, which has led to different offices having different things. So there's no central database of Dylan's field assets or equipment assets as a whole. So, and no standardized method really for labeling, for managing or anything like that. So like my one vision I presented is you should be able to hop on a plane in St. John's, Newfoundland, get the web platform up or a smartphone app. You should be able to know what's in Vancouver's field room by the time you land on the tarmac, and then walk in and be able to find stuff. And yeah, so that's kind of what I'm seeing so far with it. Yeah, kind of where we're at right now is like I mentioned, it was a kind of a slow rollout. So the whole way I presented the DI was to kind of be a pilot year or a trial year between Toronto, Oakville, and Kitchener, because these three GTA offices, well, Kitchener's not really GTA, but they're all within like an hour of each other. So it's we routinely exchange equipment, which is prime opportunity for things going missing and and not getting tracked appropriately. Which is kind of what led Laura Elridge out of Fredericton to get in touch with me about this, because it's the same with St. John and Fredericton. Equipment routinely gets exchanged between the offices, and it's not always on purpose, but it's sometimes things just get misplaced or lost or what have you, and just having this set up provides another opportunity to better make things more efficient and just simplify things a bit more. And where we're at right now is we've got Toronto and Saskatoon on here right now, because I did a talk with Spatial Information, the service line there, and then Phil has got pretty excited about this because he's the equipment manager in Saskatoon, so he's looking for ways to improve their management and tracking, and then it's slowly trickling. The word is getting out to other offices, and Jordan Wilson, was in Toronto, but he's moving back out east. Back to, I think he's going to your office. I think St. John.
Yeah,
pretty sure. Yeah. So he'd mentioned it to Laura, and Laura got excited about it, and so it's slowly trickling around. But I've heard we're probably going to get recommended that the subscription fee get carried over to operations. So it looks like this is probably going to move forward, thankfully.
Okay.
So we're slowly rolling it out. It sounds like. I guess. I'll open it up to you, kind of what you're looking to maybe get out of it with regards to, what was it you mentioned? Geomatics, was it?
All of, it's like everything within the municipal engineering group, like all our survey equipment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but they were, Jeff Matthews, our lead, was looking to expand it, to include other things. So it looks like that's already happening, by what you're doing here now. So I see it, like the equipment, the big things, everything's always been really ad hoc with the equipment over the years, with the survey years. So they're looking for a way to standardize it, to track calibrations, track maintenance, kind of like a 5-year asset management plan where they say, okay, we've got a budget X amount of dollars over the next 5 years to maintain our equipment, to replace our depleting equipment, and there's more to it than that, but that would be the piece of that pie that would be solved by this platform. I guess, or like it's almost spot on for what we were looking like. I started building some stuff through some Google Sheets and Google Forms, but
I definitely tried doing that here in Toronto, but I think I was about the only one that actually would use it. So I mean, again, I try to reiterate this with other people too. Like it's quite a platform. Like I'm super excited about it, and like if there's a lot of benefit in just scratching the surface, but again, it does come. There's still a manual component to it. So until we get to a point where we're able to microchip our equipment with barcode scanners at the doors, there's still going to be it's going to have to rely to the users to actually use it. And so the hope was with stuff on smartphone apps that like it's right in your pocket. So it's like there's no excuse for not using it. Like there's no excuse for not filling out forms and stuff too, but hopefully with this, it'll maybe simplify things and it might entice people to actually use it. But that's kind of what my hope is, at least. But yeah, so I guess what we've been doing, or what I've been doing right now after I give this spiel to people that are looking to use it, like with Phil and Laura, Josh, Wilson in Calgary. Like I run through an overview of it, and then I can add you as a regular user, so you can kind of look around the platform, and then once you feel comfortable with it, like if you're going to be more of a lead or a champion for the platform, then we can add you as an admin user on it, so that way you can update inventories and things like that. And when it gets to that stage, I can provide more of an in-depth view of the back end side of things, like how to. I think I didn't even touch on like importing assets is or anything in the groups. It's all based on Excel CSV files, right. So it can make it quite easy to import initially, but as well as do a batch update of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially you can it's up here. You can download a sample CSV, and it'll have all the fields that I showed you here. And then if you're like right now, it's with Laura. She's kind of overseeing uploading Fredericton and St. John's assets, and because we're still a pilot or basic subscription, the focus is more on the higher end type stuff. So for like, right. If you're looking for like surveying, then obviously it would be the levels and the tripods and stuff like that. We're holding off on uploading like hammers and shovels and that stuff right now, but maybe down the road, but that's where we're at right now. But with importing the CSVs, and all the categories are like this, so you're able to do you can kind of see here. There are several attempts at some uploads, because it with any kind of management tool, it can be a bit finicky if you. Well, I think one of the ones when you were with Saskatoon, I accidentally spelled Saskatoon wrong in the CSV file, so I didn't like that, and it spit back an error and skipped 34. Okay. So that's one thing. It could be a bit finicky as long as you have everything spelt right, and it's quite easy to import them. And then if you have to do a batch update of something. Say you found out extra data on a number of equipment, you can do the same. You can import a CSV, and you're able to only focus on duplicates. So if it'll recognize if stuff's already in the platform, usually based on like the unique identifier, stuff like that. Then you can do a whole batch update of stuff, and that's more of the back end kind of thing, but. It's it saves you and still having to do it all individually. Right. So yeah, if that's something you want to move forward with, I can add you as a regular user, and then you can kind of have a more in-depth browse of it, and then we can move forward from there.
Is there any like web mapping component of it, or a visualization? So you can go on to a Google map, so to say, and see.
Yes, actually. So there is a let's see here. I'm trying to find one here. So there is it really comes down to so you can only do with the smartphone app, but when staff perform an action item, and I'll have to try and find one where we used it recently. If they fill out an action item via the smartphone app, it will automatically record the GPS coordinates and show it in a Google Map. So the one drawback, or not really drawback, but again, it comes down to users. So the users have to make sure they're sharing their location on their phone, which I know some staff are reluctant to do. Yeah. But so we actually set up an extra action item, update equipment location. So if they check something out, so if you checked something out from the office, then it's obviously going to show that you were at the office. But if you're not performing any other action type items, then it won't log your location. So that's why I added that action item in. So if you want to try and track something down, someone didn't forgot to check it out or something. So we're looking for this equipment. You send an email out to your office or users, and then they can use that action item just as a quick update to location. So for this equipment, this to read me, or well, it just shows it is in the office because that's where I use the action item. But
right.
Yeah, so there is opportunities to do that, and it is set up for that.
Okay.
So we'll use this one here. I'll just myself. Okay. But yeah, so for this one where it says delete here and doesn't show on map, that's because it was through the web platform, not the
right. Okay.
not the smartphone app. So that's so you can do that.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's definitely a great platform. I see a good fit for, especially where it's across all functional groups, right? It's not isolated to environmental or engineering or
absolutely.
geospatial. It's wide reaching, which is good.
Yeah.
But, I hear too. You're moving on, Dennis?
I was going to bring that up. Yeah. So I'm currently planning for the end of March, undertaking a career change actually. So I'm leaving environmental sciences and consulting in particular, and going into agriculture with a focus on small scale vegetable farming.
Oh, really?
Yep. So I'm signing up for an on-farm apprenticeship for this growing season.
Okay.
So the plans for kind of end of March, but I'm sure I'll I'll get emails and phone calls regarding project work, and I'm sure Asset Panda as well. So that's kind of one of my big pushes too, as kind of the next step for. I guess end of May we started, so this would be like about halfway through or maybe like 3/4 through the pilot season. So it's get more users on here, as well as more people familiar with the back end side of things, so they can take on as admins and then provide or act as champions for Asset Panda moving forward. So like Laura Elridge is one, Phil Hess will be one. I guess probably yourself as well for the surveying side of things. Moving forward, I can add you on as a regular user, and then what the other offices have been doing is I add them as a regular user, and then if they have their equipment in a state that could be easily imported, I'll take a look at the inventory first, and then see if there's any kinks to work out. Like I said, if you spelled something wrong or something's in the wrong spot, then it will skip the import. So that's going on where St. John Fredericton is right now. Laura's working with someone else to get the CSV in order before we import it, and then I'll import it initially, like I did it with Phil as well. I imported it initially, so I make sure that it worked, and then send him back the CSV that I did import, so he can see what it looked like, and then change his permission setting as an admin, so like moving forward, he can kind of look after Saskatoon stuff within the platform. So it's
right. Yeah.
So admins have capability to change pretty much anything in the platform, not necessarily their said office.
Right.
Yeah.
So your idea is that you'd have a bunch of different, admins across the country that would, be a champion or advocate for the platform, and be there to maintain it and change it, and not you wouldn't have one person in charge, so to say, like yourself now in that position.
No, probably not. Probably treat it similar to like I think what they did when I was ProjectWise or like Google, or like an office champion, or SDAT for that matter, for geoscience. Have like office champions, and then IT has some involvement with this too. So like there is potential to actually integrate. Like at the top here it says employees. So this is just like a batch import from the Excel I downloaded from Inside Dylan, but there's a integration capability with it, so we're able to like integrate with Active Directory, and that's something that's beyond that's an IT thing. But we can integrate with like pretty much Inside Dylan, so the user list or the employee list can be updated automatically without someone actually having to do this manually every time.
Right.
Back out to IT to arrange. Particularly if we're moving forward with this from an operations side of thing. But So, yeah, if there's any other questions or what have you, we can go over it now, or you can reach out. Like I said, I'll get back to my desk and I'll add you as a regular user for today, so that you can start exploring. And if you got feedback or any suggestions, you're more than welcome for working through and see if we can add in. Like even like just from the past few conversations I've had, like this kits for the field is something we added based on conversations. Some of the fields I mentioned were based on recent conversations with staff and feedback. So again, the beauty of it is that it's customizable and you can change things on the fly as needed. So it's pretty adaptable.
Good. No, good. That's a good run through of it. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
And yeah, add me in, and we'll look forward to getting this integrated into our stuff here as well too.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thanks, John.
No problem. Thanks, Mark.
Take care.
You too. Okay, bye.
Bye.